Ring, ring, ring. Hello? Hello?
Okay, let's talk about a couple things that have to deal with the covert emotional manipulation. So, I think by now you're gonna realize that there's been a lot of like kooky things that are going on in the world. Um, Look, Beyond the Veil's doing the test. I got a notification while I'm recording this. I want to tune into that if I'm not recording while they're on. Um, So, covert emotional manipulation, it's super important. So, just as you exercise your brain so that you can learn to do math, or you exercise your muscles so that you could build them and lift heavier things, or your muscle memory so that you can perform certain tasks without being so conscious of the task that you're performing, such as walking. You don't really have to consciously consider every move that you make when you're walking. You are able to develop a muscle memory. Um, the covert emotional manipulation that's been happening in the world has greatly affected people's well-being. People have been relegated to they've basically relegated themselves to the idea that they are incapable and don't have the capacity to handle certain life situations. And it's it's actually causing a retardation. um, your brain develops these connections, and I'll give you an example. When you're a baby, your parents, hopefully, or somebody played a game with you. You might uh, know that it's familiar. It's called peekaboo. And what they would do is they would cover up their face, and then they would open it. They'd say peekaboo. And then the baby, if it was you, would laugh. And all of a sudden, maybe you'd be surprised, like, whoa, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. This game is so important for development. It causes the brain to develop circuits um, for object permanence. And it's when you realize that something is not gone forever just because you can't see it. Um, there's a sense of scarcity that's been being instilled into people to cause that area of the brain to break down. Now, they choose to let this area of the brain break down. They didn't have to, but a lot of them did, because the victim card got them benefits. But what happens when you don't have object permanence is that you develop a structural deficit of gray matter in the insular region of the cerebral cortex in the left hemisphere. And essentially, what happens is you are not exercising your brain in such a way that you would be developing the circuits to maintain connections there. Without those connections in your brain, um, it deteriorates. Your brain regenerates and deteriorates based on what it's being used, and it needs to nurture and nourish, and where the consciousness is going, the circuits that it's building or maintaining. Um, so object permanence, when that part of your brain starts to break down and you start to live in this like scarcity, or this pessimism, or this surrendered defeat, um, you'll notice that you'll notice somebody else developing certain behaviors, certain coping mechanisms. It starts as a coping mechanism, and it's to kind of defend the self against like a traumatic loss or situation, that coping mechanism becomes a defense mechanism. And so you begin to defend yourself against the loss or the pain or the anger or disappointment. From there, you start to, as you start to like keep yourself from having, or identifying these miracles or these beautiful things or enjoying, the loves that you have in passing, um, you defend yourself against them, and then you cut them off, and you think that you're protecting yourself by sacrificing just even these moments of happiness or these experiences. And then what happens from there is I'm going to try not to be so monotonous, but it's the middle of the night and there's people sleeping, so I'm so sorry. But I really wanted to get this video out and talk to you guys about this. That defense mechanism becomes an offense mechanism over time, and it becomes a way where you think, I'm gonna get him before he get me. I'm gonna hurt somebody so that they don't hurt me first. And you become predatory in nature. So enjoying those good things, recognizing miracles for what they are, is important for building confidence. That confidence is going to strengthen the structural gray matter that you need in order to maintain a vital existence, a meaningful existence, and a purposeful existence, so that you can enjoy the experiences that you have, that you wanted to have when you decided to be alive. Every day when you wake up, you decide to be alive. You could reverse that decision at any point in time. Most of you can. But there's another form of brain exercise that's kind of been manipulated out of the society, and it has the term for the position of the brain. I think I should have recalled. I think it's a dorsolateral. Anyway, it's in the front. This part is this is responsible for like self-discipline, doing things that are good for you or that will get you far or help you become healthier or just more functional or have a greater capacity as a human. And that greater capacity enlarges your the ability for you to have a larger life experience, a better life experience, more expansive and more meaningful and purposeful. And the way that you would exercise that part of your brain is to do things that you don't want to do that will make you better. And it's very hard when we've been being fed, oh, treat yourself. Oh no, it's just today. Oh no, it's just this, it's just that, it's just whatever, until you're put into a state of non-action. And it makes you, without doing these things, it'll make you not want to do things. That'll make sweet victories seem like just another moment. It'll take the magic out of things. And so you want to exercise your brain in these ways so that you can make it function really well. Humans are amazing in their capacity. And you want to have meaning in the life. Without it, it feels like something's missing. And for those of you that stay alive during that time, it can be very tough, and um, disassociation can take effect. So, and as far as the other side, where it comes to the narcissism, where you're missing that object permanence, the first thing that I talked about, you're going to want to enjoy moments instead of defending yourself against the possibilities of bad things potentially happening. You're going to want to find that there's a difference between acceptance and toleration. When you accept something, it just means that you recognize it. You don't have to tolerate it. And if it's not in your power to do something about, um, by all means, if you decide that that's going to be your battle and something that you want to put effort and energy into, but if it's not going to be, just be aware of it, accept it, be aware, um, and then you don't have to tolerate it. It doesn't have to be a part of your life. You can do things to get around it and ignore it, or make it so that you're not, you know, preying on people as a predator or being victimized by predators. Um, it's horrible that it's come to the way where we say, well, we just can't trust anybody. I think that it's better to not put people in positions to exploit us, but I think it's good to enjoy the moments that we have with one another. Um, I've been thinking a lot about the story, and I read a lot of religion and religious texts, and there's a story about, there's a story between, it's written by John the Apostle. It's a conversation between John and Jesus, and it's not in the Bible. It's in the Nag Hammadi. It's called the Apocryphon of John. And yeah, if you read, if you like the Bible and you like Christianity and stuff, and I recommend reading the rest of what the conversations that the apostles had with Jesus was about, because I think it would put a lot of life into context. The story that I'm referencing is about when Jesus talks about how Adam and Eve came to be after Sophia and Yaldabaoth had their accident. And Sophia is basically, she's a character, she's an aeon. An aeon is a moment of time and events. And she melds with another one called Yaldabaoth, and this one's more mechanical and binary, and they create this place. It the creature Yaldabaoth steals her light for a little while, and she's so upset, and she feels so hurt and betrayed, and she wants to stop whatever's happening. He starts developing archons, these like demon angels and stuff. He develops man to he has all of the archons kind of compose him, but he doesn't understand that Sophia put a piece of good angels called epinoia into the man, and it gives him, Adam, it gives Adam a knowing, an awareness, a certain ability to make connections, but the rest was built not of that epinoia. And epinoia is the opposite. I think pronoia is the all-knowing and the all-encompassing. Um, that's the opposite of, sorry, there's a bug in here. That's the opposite of paranoia. Paranoia is when you're irrationally freaking out, powerless to what you can't make sense of. And the epinoia is in Adam's ribcage, and he wants to not Adam, but Yaldabaoth wants to take the epinoia out of Adam, the knowing and the divinity, and the ability to make sense of and connect and create. He wants to take this out of Adam, but it's in the rib cage, so he pulls the rib from Adam, and it creates Eve. And Jesus is telling this to John, and he's trying to help him understand Genesis, the creation of man and woman. And when he tries to pull the rib out of Adam to remove the epinoia to create his slave race, she, how does it go? The woman is Eve. She is filled with the epinoia, and so there's two, and they have the ability to form a connection, to see each other, to speak with each other, and so the epinoia grows. And the goal of Yaldabaoth is to find a way to remove the epinoia from mankind. So he wants to give Adam and Eve the temptations that will make their will weaker. The epinoia, they want to make it weaker. He wants to make it weaker for them. So he gives them these, the fruit. He wants them to eat of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. But it's more fruit to take away. So we have these temptations. They will exploit us. So let's say intercourse is it's very precious, it's very sacred. The churches used to say when you do that with one another, you split a piece of your soul, you share a piece of your soul with them, and you do. But when you're doing that and you're not involved in it in a sacred way, what people tend to do is to, when you sit like this, your hand goes numb. But people, they disassociate with themselves, right? So they basically remove themselves from the actual situation. Like if it's forced, or if you're just doing it out of obligation. So it's a way to make you not a part of yourself, to separate you from what makes you whole. Drug addiction, to make you out of your mind, out of your ability, and to separate you. It's anything to separate you from that sacred epinoia. And so those temptations and those seeds are from that creature Yaldabaoth. And so he gives them as gifts to Adam and Eve constantly. Here, this will make it easier, this will make it better. And then he tortures them until, it's what they want. They want that release, that they make those deals with. Yaldabaoth is always a predator. He wants to take away, and he wants to stop the ability, like just the ability from mankind. And so it's interesting that we get to this time where there is they're introducing something into the body that's alive. It's a parasite, and they are trying to enforce it and give it control of all of the people. um, and it modifies the DNA, the genetic structure, which runs the epinoia through the body to give you the knowing, to give you the consciousness, to give you the creative ability. And they're introducing parasites to take the ability away and also create more power for themselves or itself. That predatorial consciousness doesn't want yours to exist. And so kind of the whole goal of what's happening right now is to just take it away. And those that make deals with it because they think that it's going to be more, what do they think? It's going to be more convenient. They're going to suffer a lot later, I think. Maybe some won't. Maybe this isn't the big one, but that's the ultimate goal, and you just have to be careful and take care of yourself. Take care of your mind. Exercise it. It's got an amazing capacity. Don't tell yourself that you're retarded. Don't tell yourself that you're weak. Some other time I'll talk to you guys about the amazing powers of just the things that the gateway processes. They've written about it. We've been studying it since the dawn of time. I can't tell you, reading back through these scientists that made the most prolific advancements in history, even to include finding out what atoms look like, what resonances, what molecules are, to find the natural ability and the creative ability of life. A lot of these things came as dreams or weird, like pseudoscience premonitions. They came in really kind of supernaturally amazing ways where these scientists were able to just think about them in general, and a lot of things that we've come to think about or to study or to find started with some sort of like paranormal hypothesis, and then we find that this is just the nature of the natural world. It's really interesting. I know there's probably going to be a long pause as I catch my thoughts and figure out where I was going with that. I did want to say that it's important to exercise your brain, to take care of your brain. Your body is like a car, and you are infinite, and you are piloting this vehicle through microtubules of neurotransmitters. That's what's harnessing your consciousness here. Your DNA is kind of like a codex, and it's just fractal bits of resonating information, and so is everything else around, and you are contributing to the experience that we're sharing together. We are a part of each other's lives, And it's not that you have to do things for everybody else, but you have to be aware that this experience is yours, and it's mine, and it's theirs. And do you want to be a player character? You can choose to not be a player character. You can choose to be on autopilot, and you can choose to relinquish your will to something else. But the thing that wants you to do as it says, the thing that wants you to not be creative and to let it guide you for your own safety because it knows what's best. It's a predator, it's preying on you, and the goal is to take away from you and to get you to work for its better. And it will hurt you, and it will damage your karma, and you will notice when you make deals with it that nothing's ever good or fulfilling within it, no matter how convenient it is and the best that you made the decisions for. When you make a deal with a predator who wants to consume you, it will. The only thing I could say, probably to encourage you guys now, is that when these things are happening and you're being pushed out of the surrender, the servitude that you've been giving your time and your experience and your consciousness, and you've been fueling a predatorial company, people that have their loyalty, even if it's ignorantly, if they're following and enforcing what the predator wants from people, then you're going to, if you're getting kicked out of it, you're so blessed. Like, there's a lot of doctors, nurses, oil workers, musicians, radio stars, YouTube channel hosts that are being removed from where they're at and what they're doing, whatever their profession is, so that they can't even serve the predator. And they're so fortunate, and you see a lot of them like, I just want it back, I just want to be a part of this rinse, wash, repeat system. But something new is coming. We're building something else. And it's gonna be a social economic, just, it's gonna be something you've never seen before. And it's gonna be amazing. And we have so much to look forward to. So much technology and innovation and peace. And people think you can't have love without hate. But there's so much you can have. You can have so much experience when you're not on a wild goose chase to get stupid things like a dog license to keep the dog license guy employed so that he can check to see if people have dog licenses. Like, you should just be able to get a dog. Oh, and they will always make it seem like if you don't carry out their will, the predators, if you don't, then you're at risk. The only thing that puts you at risk is the things that it's creating, and it's got other people creating for it. So take care of yourself and your faculties and your vehicle, and know that don't make deals with the predator anymore. I know that went from like rational to some of you being like, what? It's a thing though, and you're gonna find out soon, and it's not gonna be like a big boom, there it is, oh my gosh, Sky's falling. It's gonna be something else. Um, completely.